All right. Sorry about the late show tonight, but you're going to love it. It's a big one. It's important stuff. Mexico. You're not going to believe what I'm going to show you. In Mexico Beach yesterday, they had a special meeting to hire the city administrator. You're not going to believe who they hired. You're not going to believe the big lie that the former mayor, Cathey, said at the podium during his public comments. It's absolutely incredible that he can say what he said. And I'm going to show you that early in the show. I'm going to show you that. It's going to be the first video I show you. We'll take a look at WMBB's report on the new city administrator in Mexico Beach. And then I'm going to show you the actual meeting. I'm going to show you some of the incredible exchanges that took place. Specifically with Councilman Adrian Welly, who seems to be the most determined to get this particular person in as the city administrator. And the three amigos, they did indeed vote for their guy. I'll tell you all about it. Let me thank a couple of sponsors first, and we'll get right to it.
When your life is on the line, hire the lawyer who lives in our community, works in our community, and worships in our community. I'm Al Saulene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to want to show you is the big lie. Let's do that first. Oh my gosh. So last night at the city council meeting, this is Mayor Cathey.
Do I need to answer that?
That's up to you. You don't have
No,
to.
I'll just let the council.
Okay, so this you're going to see Cathey, the former mayor who lost in April. Let's hear his public comments. And there you have it, by the way. He is also the owner of Ace Hardware in Mexico Beach. Look at that. He's got a hat. He's got a forensic audit Mexico Beach hat. And he says, what financial crisis? I don't see a financial crisis anywhere. By the way, if you would like to support the show and make a statement and get something for it, I've worked hard to create this stuff, and you can get your own You can get your own hat. Forensic Audit Mexico Beach. I fixed it, so it's correct here. BernieStore.etsy.com. And for those of you who bought yours, I know you love it. There's a lot of stuff on there, actually. You can get a cup like I have here. BernieStore.etsy.com. And you can get your Mexico Beach hat just like Mayor Cathey has. All right, I'm going to play this a short video I made. It's an exchange really between the two mayors, the former mayor who was defeated in April and the new mayor, Michelle Miller. He goes up and he says, do you still think you're the CEO and the CFO? Are you still thinking you're the CFO? Ain't no CFO. All right. Unbelievable. Here we go.
No, you're not claiming anymore to be a CEO, CFO, and have unilateral control.
I've never claimed to have unilateral control, sir. And I only spoke straight from the charter, as you did one time, sir.
But if you read the charter, it is the mayor is the CEO, mayor is the CFO of the city.
So, do you have anything else you'd like to address the
I
council?
would
We've
just-
got probably a few more minutes.
Yeah.
Here's the incredible thing, and I'm going to just replay that part. He says the mayor, right now, yesterday, he says the mayor is not the CFO of the city. Last year, he said the mayor is the CFO of the city, and the mayor is the CFO of the city. It says it in the charter. Last year in February, he said the reason I make more money than the rest of the council here is because I'm the CFO. And on your left there, In the green shirt, you see the city attorney. That's Clint McCahill. Clint McCahill wrote the ordinance that gave the raise, that acknowledged that the mayor's the CFO, and the mayor makes more money than the rest of the council because of the added duties. The mayor does not only hold a legislative role, but the mayor is the chief fiscal official of the city and administrative official of the city. I'm going to play it again from the start, but watch when it comes back. When you're going to see him shake his head no, that he didn't say it. Watch this.
No, you're not claiming anymore to be a CEO, CFO, and have unilateral control.
I've never claimed to have unilateral control, sir. And I only spoke straight from the charter, as you did one time, sir.
But if you read the charter, it is the mayor is the CEO, mayor is the CFO of the city.
So, do you have anything else you'd like to address the
I
council?
would
You
just-
guys probably a few more minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we can bury our head in saying that like we don't know why there's two administrators going. So I'm just asking.
And let me
Are
ask you a
there-
question.
Sure.
Is it not, how many administrators left on your watch, sir?
Oh, probably several.
And was it because you were
No,
CFO, CEO?
Well, I'm just
whatever?
asking, no, I wasn't CEO or CFO.
But if you read the charter, it is the mayor is the CEO, mayor is the CFO of the city.
No, I wasn't CEO or CFO. I didn't claim that. I
And
didn't
you've
go,
never
I
asked-
didn't I didn't dictate powers and duties outside the realm of the city council.
Me, I
So-
asked what I dictated, sir.
Do I need to answer that?
That's up to you. You don't have
No,
to.
I'll just let the council answer that. They know the answer.
Oh, okay, you've been talking
So
to
I'm-
the council, so I'm sure.
No, I
we
don't have to.
got
It's all-
taken
it's all-
care
it's
of.
all-
Wow. Does Cathey not know how Facebook works? Did you see that? How can he sit there and lie? I mean, it's not like that was 2012. That was last year that the council voted to give themselves a raise, and the mayor still makes a larger salary than the rest of the council members because of the added duties. He knows it. He said it. The city attorney knows it. He said it. Everybody up there knows it. Why are they lying? And I'll tell you why they're lying, because they think they can get away with it. And they might get away with it. If the sheriff's office continues to allow public officials to break the law, if the FBI continues to allow public officials to break the law, if the state attorney, Larry Bassford, who we know now goes after public officials like planning board members for sunshine law violations, or at least only Mayor Miller last year when she was on the planning board. Our state attorney, the leading prosecutor in the district, prosecuted Michelle Miller last year for a sunshine law violation. Of course, it was a bogus charge, so they dropped it, but they just tried to cripple her because she said she was going to run for mayor. Larry Bassford pulled a Jack Smith, tried to, hit her at the knees like Donald Trump. As long they believe, and so far they've been right, that they can do or say anything. And they also know that the local news media are on the take. They're in on it. So the extent to which there's public corruption is the extent to which there's no news coverage of it, and the extent to which local authorities allow it. But here's the good news. In 8 months, there's an election. These seats are only 2-year seats. So you've got two people up there who really give a damn, Michelle Miller and Linda Hamilton. It's always a 3-2 vote with the three amigos. Sorry. I've been told that I make incendiary comments and I need to stop. So the three amigos, don't call me an amigo. They, two of them are up for re-election. The guy in the white shirt and the guy in the burgundy shirt sitting next to Mayor Miller. Adrian Welly and Richard Wolf are up for re-election in April. And fewer than 700 people voted last time. There will be fewer than 700 votes. If one of those two guys loses, everything changes. There will be 3 or 4 people who give a damn. So there's that. And I do think one of them or both of them are going to lose because it's very clear they're being dishonest. All right. So let's get to who they actually hired last night, the three amigos. They hired former Mayor Al Cathey's former city administrator, a guy named Chris Hubbard. He was the city administrator for 7 years, and he resigned in a controversial resignation in 2014. The news story says he followed then city clerk Debbie McLeod. I'll say Debbie McLeod that was 2014. She resigned and he resigned. He was the city administrator. She was the city clerk. They had a thing going on. And then she came back as the city accountant. Well, 1 month after Mayor Miller was elected, so it was in May when she abruptly resigned, and she is the girlfriend of the guy they just hired back, who's a real estate agent, Chris Hubbard. I mean, there's a lot more about Chris Hubbard that are concerning, things that are concerning. And we'll get to those later. But right now, I wanted you to know who they hired. The fix was in from the beginning. I knew from the beginning. It's just like what they did in Panama City Beach with Drew Whitman. All right, I knew 3 weeks before Drew Whitman was hired that, the whole interview thing was a charade. I was told they were going to drop the standards and hire Drew Whitman, the police chief at the time, as the city manager in Panama City Beach. They all yelled at me and told me I was being incendiary and I was giving misinformation and conspiracy theories. Guess what happened? 3 weeks later, they hired Drew Whitman. They dropped all the qualifications. And that's an interesting thing that happened last night. So, this is so amazing. So the city administrator, which is not a city manager, the city administrator, which has similar functions, but it's a different form of government. The qualifications were that you have to at least have a bachelor's degree. That was one of the 3 big qualifications. Experience was another one. Well, the guy that when they all voted, when the whole council ranked the 17 applicants, the top guy was a guy named Mr. Marsh. He had 22 total points. Chris Hubbard had 14 total points. Marsh has a master's degree and a bachelor's degree that are pertinent to the job and lots of experience. Al Cathey's old administrator, who they wedged in there, he doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. He doesn't meet the basic qualifications. But you got to leave it up to Adrian Welly, which I'm going to show you. Councilman Welly, remember, he's slick and he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He said, well, I'm looking here at the third point and it said experience can be factored in when you're considering education. Now, here's what that means. Okay. I wish they would have caught what he was doing. What that means is if you have, say, 2 candidates who are neck and neck, and they're both qualified, meaning they both have the minimum education requirement for the job. It's a requirement. They both have a bachelor's degree. One of the guys, though, has a master's degree. Okay. So he's got an edge on education. but the guy with only the bachelor's degree, maybe he has more job experience. And so you can weigh the job experience at that point. But you can't start and say that somebody can be a candidate that doesn't even meet the basic general bottom line requirement. By saying that you can factor in experience to offset education doesn't mean that the bottom line bachelor's degree doesn't matter. But Adrian Welly, of course, pulled a slick one and said, I'll show you what he said. But that should have been the response, is that is only a factor for the qualified candidates. Are you following me? All right, let's take a look at how WMBB reported this. All right, let's go to Huey Lewis in the News and WMBB and see how they reported it yesterday. I love Tom Lewis's body language. Look. All right, let's hear about it. Mexico Beach agrees on a contract to hire a former city manager.
Of Mexico Beach may have found their next city administrator, but not a new finance director.
Council members negotiated
I just said city manager. I should have said city administrator.
And agreed on a contract with former city administrator Chris Hubbard. But as News 13's Courtney Evans tells us, he was not a unanimous choice.
Prior to Thursday's special meeting, the Mexico Beach council members voted 3-2 to extend an offer to former city administrator Chris Hubbard. The decision upset some residents.
Well, we were looking one way, you blindsided us, and you unified rushed to vote. Not a single person in attendance at that morning meeting, including the 2 council members that voted no, anticipated or expected that a vote would be taken that day.
Mayor Michelle Miller also believed the process could have been more efficient.
The process, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many that stood up, was that we should have had a better process than just looking at them, interviewing them for 20 minutes and voting.
But others say Hubbard is the right person for this position and urge the council to hire him.
I would just like to say I've never seen the city as divided as it is now. Not sticking my finger at nobody, but we all got to get along and get together. But I'd just like to make a recommendation. Chris Hubbard was here. He did such a great job. And the vote, I don't know how to put it to you, is halfway sinking. And I think he could bail the water better than anybody else.
After negotiating a $105,000 annual salary, the council voted 3-2 to hire Hubbard.
He was hired, and he's got a job to do. And I'm sure that he's going to come in here and do a good job, and hopefully he'll be able to learn all the different things that have happened in our city since he was here in 2014.
In Mexico Beach, Courtney Evans, News 13, Panhandle Strong.
Council members were also negotiating with part-time remote accountant Michelle Lucas to take the finance director's job, but tonight they decided to drop those negotiations and cancel Lucas's part-time deal as well. They'll explore hiring a firm instead.
All right. So one thing I want to point out is a lot of people were saying, a lot of the residents, and they were saying that the most important thing is that we come together, right? That the council works together and moves forward. I hate those words, by the way. Moving forward. That's not the most important thing in any city. The most important thing in the city is that there's transparency, that there's honest government, that the citizens can see public records, and that public records aren't being hidden like they are in Mexico Beach. The effort made, the theatrics and histrionics in Mexico Beach, led by, I believe the ringleader is the one who's probably knows the most, or at least he says he does, and that's Adrian Welly, the councilman who used to be the city's finance director. The councilman in the sitting next to Mayor Miller, who you're going to see next, he was the finance director. He was the city clerk. He's been there for 10 years. He knows where all the skeletons are. He knows all of the procedures and policy. He says he knows about the finances, and he says even if you could see them, it's just going to bore you to tears because there's nothing there. Adrian Welly says, we get the reports. You don't need to see the invoices. You don't need to see the checks. You don't need to see the credit card statements. You don't need to see that. You just need to see the reports that were given by the city administrator, whether it's Mario Gisbert, whether it's Doug Baber, or whether it's Chris Hubbard again. Just, you got to count on the reports. So, boy, they're playing this one. They're playing this one. Why are they doing that? We'll find out. You'll find out soon. Let's take a look at the meeting itself. I want you to see Councilman Welly in action. I want you to see, I was going to play Jerry Bad Liability Smith, but I think I'm going to pass on that because you can imagine how that went. But I will play Vice Mayor Richard Wolf. I don't know him. So I only have an impression of him from what I see. What I see is old Iron Fist here, because he likes to slam the table and lean in on yell at women and stuff. But old Iron Fist Wolf, it seems to me that I'm going to guess that he believes in transparency, but I just think he's so dumb. I just think he really doesn't know how government works. He absolutely does. Like, you're going to see him argue that a city manager is a city administrator. We've heard him argue that the council mayor form of government is a weak mayor form of government. We've seen him make some of the dumbest arguments. I mean, not only have I been reporting and studying government since 2007, well, actually on the radio, but I started writing about it around 1998. For a quarter of a century, I have studied this stuff, formally and informally. I have a bachelor's degree in political science, but I didn't let school get in the way of my education, as Mark Twain said. You wouldn't believe the books I've read, the things I've studied, the philosophy, all of it, because I take it really seriously. And so when I see somebody who doesn't know about government try to lecture people about government, it would be as though if you were a mechanic, right? And you got the hood open. And here I come, walking around the block with a big sun hat on. And I say, hey, what are you doing there? And you say, I'm changing the spark plugs. Or whatever. And I said, that's not how you do it. You should do it this way. Don't listen to me about how to fix a car, for God's sake. I feel the same way when somebody who doesn't know about government at all, this is the same guy who's still trying to figure out how the press is allowed to record public meetings. And he's the vice mayor of Mexico Beach. So my take on him is that he just doesn't know. My take on Welly is that he knows. My take on Jerry Bad Liability Smith is that he knows. He's like a smart blonde who plays the dumb blonde. I don't think Jerry Bad Liability Smith is nearly as dumb as he sounds. I think he knows. And if Vice Mayor Richard Wolf is, I don't know if he ever watches something like this or hears about anything like this, but, you know, you got to be informed, man. You've got to understand government. You've got to learn these things and have some humility and quit yelling at women and saying, didn't you read your job description? When either your reading comprehension is subpar. I don't think yet that you're being dishonest. I just think you're in way over your head and you think that you know. What I think about Vice Mayor Wolf is that I want you to look this up. So please look this up. He has the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect. That is scientists actually studied people who think they know more than they know, who think they are smarter than they are. And it's a great explanation called the Dunning-Kruger effect. I think that best describes him. All right, let's get to it, though. Let's take a look at what they said. We'll start with Adrian Welly. Oh, my gosh. Let's watch how slick Adrian Welly is at the meeting right after this.
It's a hot time in Florida, and my friend Ryan could make sure your air conditioning is running at peak efficiency. He could even install a new one, built to a higher standard, American standard. Find out more at PCAirRepair.com. Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777.
All right, so if you haven't done this yet, I highly recommend it. If you know people who want to get this information, but they don't have Facebook, please subscribe to the newsletter for them. I'm going to send it out after the show tonight. Every Friday night, I send one newsletter to it's a free subscription. And you won't miss any of the shows. You won't miss any of my commentary or reporting for the entire week on what I call Corruption Watch on local governments. It's free. It takes 20 seconds to enter your email. There is a way if you like what I'm doing to support my efforts. And it's so appreciated. Bernie.substack.com. When this show is over, the newsletter's going out in the form of an email, and you don't need Facebook to see the shows. Bernie.substack.com. All you do is enter your email. It takes 20 seconds. You're going to love it. You won't ever miss anything if you have the subscription. All right, let's get to the meeting last night. This is incredible. All right. We're going to start with Councilwoman Linda Hamilton. She has just addressed that between the two candidates we're looking at, Mr. Marsh and Chris Hubbard, the former city administrator for Cathey when he was the mayor. And she said, how is it that Chris Hubbard's even qualified when he doesn't meet the lowest requirement of a bachelor's degree? And this is where Adrian Welly, sitting next to Mayor Miller, thinks he's slick. What he's going to say is experience can compensate for that. But again, remember what I told you. That's only when you have two candidates who are qualified with a bachelor's degree and maybe the other guy has a master's degree like Mr. Marsh does, the guy they didn't bring in. Okay, that's what that's for. It's not to say you don't need a bachelor's degree at all, but that's the move Adrian Welly successfully makes.
Well, it does say job requirements here, so has that been verified? Does anybody know that?
I'm reading the third bullet point that says experience can be substituted for education requirements. Experience qualification can be waived or altered provided incumbent has demonstrated experience of a nature capable to quickly perform at a high level.
Once again, going back to Patrick Marsh.
Okay, so it does say waived. All right, it does say waived. But the way this would work with people who are honest, people who have already ranked one guy significantly higher, is at the least, you would have qualified candidates. Right? All right, let's go to Vice Mayor Wolf, who I was just telling you about. And what they're looking for here is a city administrator. And when they made the offer to the guy they brought in, Chris Hubbard, I think it was like $85,000 and what was it? I think it was like a 8-week severance. So when you quit, you get like an 8-week severance package. Well, he refused that. He counteroffered. He said, I want $105,000. He's a real estate agent. I want $105,000 and I want I think a 12-week or a 16-week or something. I want a longer severance package and I want $105,000 as a city administrator. Now, like I was just telling you about Vice Mayor Wolf, he doesn't know the difference. He doesn't care or doesn't know that the charter provides for a city administrator, which is different than a city manager. It's a different form of government. It's not like Panama City. It's not like Panama City Beach. It's not like Lynn Haven. So listen to Vice Mayor Wolf. This is what I'm talking about when I say the guy he doesn't know, he doesn't understand government. Watch.
I had on the salary in the state of Florida for a city manager is the lowest is 97.5, the high is 120.
So that's wrong, right? Whatever his research is wrong. The city manager in Lynn Haven makes more than $120,000. The city managers, they have 2 city managers in Panama City Beach, and they both make more than $150,000. And Richard Wolf just said there are 412 cities in Florida, and he just said the highest paid city manager makes 120. The guy is unbelievable. You're not hiring a city manager anyway.
The median average for the state of Florida for a city manager is 106, so I don't have a problem with the 105.
All right, so the city, actually, just for knowledge, city manager versus the city administrator, there are differences.
That's right.
There are, and I think that's being discussed now, whether ours is a city manager or a city administrator, and you're probably.
What? The guy's not qualified to be there. He just said, I think it's being discussed whether ours is a city manager or a city administrator. You're hiring a city administrator. The charter provides for a city administrator. I cannot believe this. This would be like if you were a mechanic and I walked up and you had your head under the hood and you're working on your car. Don't listen to me. I'm not qualified to tell a mechanic how to fix a car. What Richard Wolf just said would be like me saying, hey, your car's not running well. Have you thought about putting orange juice instead of gasoline in the car? It blows my mind that he still hasn't figured out that the press can record.
Probably falls more on the city manager than any.
It says city administrators, unless we change our job descriptions and all our ordinance for that. Okay.
The charter itself would have to be changed. All right, let's take a look at what Mayor Miller had to say about this when last night, right about here. All right.
Mr. Hubbard had 7 years and 6 months with no recent experience. And really, that's really how his grading went. It was just.
By the way, remember, there were 3 candidates. There was a Mr. Day, who was Mayor Miller's top choice. There was Mr. Marsh, who was the most qualified. And then there was Mr. Hubbard, who used to be Al Cathey city administrator and is a real estate agent. And 2 of the council members, Adrian Welly and Jerry Smith, called Michelle Miller's top choice, Timothy Day, and intimidated him to drop out. And these are the same guys who gaslighted her. Remember when they had that big theater play and they were all saying, gosh, you made a phone call and made our accountant quit. The accountant, again, is the girlfriend of the city administrator they're bringing in. Boy, they really need to keep it in the family. The invoices, don't they?
Very much because no degree, and his maximum budget was around 10 million from what I could tell from his resume. The others were 49 and 62. So, I think also character plays a lot into things. I was a little taken back, to say the least, by Mr. Hubbard's interview. He was, to me, he was very talkative, and that, with experience from interviewing, a lot of times that's an issue. He also was put on an air to me that he could say anything, and he did use some swear words in his interview. I was taken back by that, and we do that, okay? But anyway, Mr. Hubbard's situation of our council talking with Mr. Day was inappropriate, and I got a second call from him. I got a call actually from him that he got a second call from Mr. Smith the day after the interviews saying that.
So Mr. Smith, remember, that's Jerry Bad Liability Smith sitting to her right. That's him right there. So Jerry Smith called up, remember, the day before the third candidate, Timothy Day, was supposed to show up for interviews, and they intimidated him, said, you don't need to, basically, we heard some stuff about you, they might not want to go. So he doesn't come. And after I reported that, Jerry Smith calls him back and says, I don't appreciate you getting me in trouble. What?
That,
What did I say?
okay. The guy to your right called me the next day and was mad that he got blamed for my not interviewing. And I asked him, why did you call me? And he got silent. So this is really ethical, a very ethical issue, and it goes beyond just ethics commission. It goes to the federal level, or not the federal level, but the it's called the Sunshine Amendment. It's not even the Sunshine Law, it's the amendment. It is what we, as our conduct, should be. And it's ethical issues, and you can read that. Just look up Sunshine Amendment. So.
All right, so basically what she's saying is, look, probably the process wasn't done correctly if we've got, 3 candidates and 2 of the commissioners council members call her first choice, Mr. Day, and intimidate him so that there is really only 2 candidates. Because from the outset, the whole thing was dishonest. 17 people applied for the job. And I find it absolutely reprehensible, the games that cities play with people's hopes and aspirations. People work really hard on their resumes. They went to school for years and years and sacrificed and often had second jobs to try to qualify for these jobs. And to have people like Adrian Welly and Jerry Smith and Richard Wolf working together, conspiring and scheming to put on a play just to bring in Al Cathey's old city administrator, the former mayor's old city administrator, the boyfriend of the accountant who abruptly resigned, so that they can keep the secrets, is, what's the word? You tell me the word. But I have a real problem with that. Giving people false hope is one of the worst things you can do to somebody. And I cannot believe, I really cannot believe that more of you don't give a damn about that. And again, coming together and the whole council working together and agreeing on everything, that is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the rule of law is followed, that there's transparency, and that people don't have real or shell companies that are on the council that are getting taxpayer money, like FEMA money or any money that is public. And we want to know if that happened. And you know what? We're going to find out. And we're going to tell everybody. That's the final act of this play, Adrian. It's just a little bit of a longer story is all. The delays are not going to be complete denials of us seeing the invoices. All right, listen, I just wanted to show you what happened last night. A lot more to tell you, a lot more to fill you in about this city administrator that they brought in and how they're trying to change the government in Mexico Beach, which is against the law. The charter is the law. It's not a recommendation. It's the law. And it's not like you can interpret it one way last year and another way this year. They say, yeah, it is because Sheriff Ford ain't going to do nothing about it. He's our buddy. And so is Larry Bassford, the prosecutor. And the FBI, they don't do anything anyway around here. So we can do what we want. The press are on our team. They're our PR team, Bernie, don't you know? Okay, but the voters in 8 months are going to have their say. And when one of you loses, the city will finally run in a transparent way, and the people will see where the money went. They're going to see before that. But things, I believe, will get fixed because it is so clearly and evidently being hidden from the people. And the schemes are absolutely disgusting. Real people are affected by this. And the big picture is that the city of Mexico Beach that was decimated by Hurricane Michael is not being restored as fast as it could have been. Just like every city in Bay County, just like the county itself, prices have been inflated. The pickup and the restoration of the city has been delayed. And we want to know who benefited. It's not your business, Bernie. It's Mexico Beach. It's FEMA money. It's more than $100 million. And my business is everywhere. All right. That's what I do. And that's what every American should do. All right. I want to thank the Unknown Patriot for your support. Of course, the Unknown Patriot. I appreciate it so much. And those of you who are patrons, thank you so much for supporting this. It's like a tip. If you like what I do, you can become a patron at patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It's easy, it's anonymous, and you can quit at any time. And boy, does it ever help those of you who are patrons and support the show. All right, that's all I got. I will see you soon. Thanks for being with me.